throws. He lays out and makes the catch.
And we are back. Week 1 in the books. It is currently Monday. We got the Phils facing Sandy again, Sandy Alcantara, and we are 3-6. It's better than 0-4. We're trending in the right direction, but no, I was kind of hoping we'd be more like 6-3 instead of 3-6, but it is what it is. It's a long season, and I'm not too upset about it. How are you doing, Johnny?
I'm doing well, Josh. I'm personally kind of pleased. We won a series. I don't think anyone really sees the silver lining after the end of this Red series, but we're trending in the right direction. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we didn't win a single game in the first series. We took 1 of 3 from the Yankees, 2 of 3 from the Reds. We have to sweep the Marlins, right? That's kind of how this works.
I think we got to take 2 out of 3.
Yeah, I'd like a sweep, get us back to 500, but
yeah, but you look at the pitchers.
Wishful thinking.
I mean, Marlins can pitch for the best of them.
Sandy tonight. I don't even know who we have in the rest of the series.
Luzardo and then Cabrera.
Oh man, Luzardo's actually nasty. Yeah, he's nasty for all those fantasy people. Who I recommended Jesus Luzardo, right? That's what you say his first name, right? Okay,
not Jesus.
I didn't say Jesus. No, he's a beast. He's a gem of a pitcher for the Marlins. But no, we have our work cut out for us, and we probably will because we dug ourselves into that big hole. As for what actually happened this week, nothing notable in the Yankees series. Really, nothing notable in the Phillies series.
Red series.
The Red series. It was kind of nice seeing us raise the flag, having Bryce and Reese raise the flag in center field. That was wholesome. It was nice seeing. Well, it wasn't nice. It was actually heartbreaking seeing Reese.
It was
come out on his crutches to get his ring. I was tearing up there. That was some seriously sad stuff. But you know, it was supposed to be a very happy weekend, and I think all things considered, it went pretty well. I'm happy that we're back on the winning trail. Almost got the sweep there. We kind of had a meltdown. Sir Anthony Dominguez has not showed up yet this season. It seems to be a trend that some of our pitchers are just, they're coming up now. It's like they're all finding it at certain points. Besides obviously Jose Alvarado, who's had it all season. But no, it was one we should have took all 3 games from him, but we didn't, and it's just part of what's going to happen with this bullpen. It's refreshing seeing the hits coming. I mean, we had another home run from Bomer, Bryson Stott's batting 400, Marsh is crushing the ball. They were mainly responsible for our big comeback on Friday, and it's nice seeing this deep lineup be what it was supposed to be. Some of the guys at the top are struggling a little bit. Schwarber's still in the hundreds. JT hasn't really found his stride yet, but the kids are developing exactly the way we hoped they would. And I think if there's one storyline over the first 10 days of the season, it's exactly that. Between those 3 and Edmundo, who's thrust into a starting job now with the injury to Derek Hall, who went from probably one of the most fortunate, lucky guys getting this opportunity that he did to being one of the most unlucky guys tearing a ligament in his thumb. But it's okay, because we do have Edmundo Sosa, who's going to step in at third base. Bomer's back at first. And the kids are hitting the ball well. K. Long's obviously leaving his impact on them. Bryson Stott still a tough out. He's not going to bat 400 all season, but you got to love how when he needs to put the bat on the ball, he will do it. And Bomer, I mean, it's a week into the season and he's 2 home runs. And you're talking about a guy who, over the 162-game season last year, he was completely healthy, and he hit like 13. So he's on pace to just blow through that number. The kids, what's left of the daycare is doing their job. And I mean, unrelated, but Matty Vierling is having a really good start with the Tigers. You love to see that, especially because I like Matty V, and I
Me
always
too.
want the best for him. It's not like there's any bad feelings there. I want those guys to succeed. Just all the daycare trending up right now, and it's wonderful to see.
Absolutely. I really don't think you can be mad where we're at this season. We know that Kyle Schwarber and JT have a tendency to start a little bit slower, but to see the development that specifically just like Bohm and Stott are two homegrown draft picks. Josh, we've watched a lot of prospects just kind of never make strides towards becoming a elite big league ball player, but these two guys put in the work and it's showing. It really is. And Stott, there's a lot of people that didn't think he proved anything last year because his numbers were pretty awful. But I think me and you have talked a lot about how his demeanor last year kind of showed that he was getting comfortable, and he was ready to take on this role this year. And so far, it looks like we have a middle infield for a decade, man.
We might have a full-on infield for a decade because the way Edmundo Sosa is playing, it leads me to believe that when they traded for him, and we heard all this stuff about how the Phillies are really high on him and they think he can be more than what we've seen. Um, I'm starting to think they were right, and I think that we probably have something here between the awesome defense. He's a very quick base runner. He's got great speed on the bases, and he's found another level of contact that we weren't quite sure about. We always knew he had the pop. He's always flashed the flashy tools. We weren't sure about how consistently he could put the bat on the ball, and he's doing it now. And if you kind of just look at what this infield is right now between Trey Turner at shortstop for 11 years, Bryson Stott, Edmundo, and Alec Bohm, who are all pre-arbitration players, you're looking at just throw them out there every year and just don't worry about it because everything you want to see from a young player who's growing and developing, all three of those guys are showing it. And Trey Turner, I feel like over the course of the season, we're not going to talk about him too much because there's nothing we can say. He's awesome. He's fun.
Great.
He's blowing bubbles in the field. He's fast he's so fast. So fast. You don't really realize how fast he is until you watch him score from first base on a double or something. The man flies. And between those four infielders who are, they're kind of carrying the bulk of this, it's what we need now because Schwarber's the type of player who later in the season when everybody's getting tired, everybody's banged up, he's like, I got it, guys, and he'll take over for a full month. JT doesn't have that level of offensive firepower, but JT will he'll leave his mark on the season at some point. So if those younger guys can kind of prop us up in the meantime. Another Philly guy I wanted to talk to you about. Logan O'Hoppy's really good, man. Logan O'Hoppy's really good.
He is really
I don't know
good.
if you've been paying attention to him, but
I have.
He hit a couple homers over the weekend, and he's good.
Josh, I got to say something now that we're on this topic.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of people every time Marsh does something stupid talk about O'Hoppy, but I really think that we look back in 10 years, this is going to be one of the best win-win trades for both the Phillies and the Angels. Because what people don't take in consideration enough is that Logan O'Hoppy was not going to get playing time for another couple of years unless he moved to first base. And Brandon Marsh was never going to be able to develop behind Mike Trout. And I think both these players are now in the perfect situations.
Yeah, so the first thing that comes to my mind is the Marlins D-backs trade, Jazz for Zach Allen. That is a perfect example of what this trade can be. In hindsight, with Reese getting hurt, maybe, if we knew that, obviously if that's going to happen, you would kind of like to have Logan O'Hoppy at at first base. But you can't predict the future, and based off the information we had, it made sense. And I know Marsh has made some frustrating moves. You do question the baseball IQ a little bit, but it's no big deal. He's not making just game destroying moves out there, and he cancels it out with a lot of different aspects. He brings a lot to the table in terms of who he is as a player. No, it's very interesting, but I'm telling you, every time I see Logan O'Hoppy hit a home run, I'm like, I think about it a little bit.
I know
because
We don't have to root against him. He's on the Angels. It's
The thing about Logan O'Hoppe is he keeps getting better. Like
I
it's
know.
he's a weird player that keeps getting better, and it's gotten to the point where I'm starting to think, how good is he going to get?
Really good.
He gets to double A, race, triple A, just as good. He actually tightens up the K rate a little bit. Gets to the majors, still good. I don't know. Interesting stuff. But that's Logan O'Hoppe and Brandon Marsh. As for the Phillies, which we should probably actually talk about,
Sure.
um, pitching is probably the biggest concern right now. Are you concerned about specifically some of the bigger names who have not pitched well? Most notably, Aaron Nola, Taiwan Walker, not Bailey Falter, who continues to just be good as hard as that is for us to admit. He just continues to be good. And some of the big names in the bullpen, Kimbrel, Sir Anthony, and Soto, who have all gotten off to rocky starts. Are you concerned with what you've seen from them so far? And yeah, kind of where's the panic level at with them?
Well, it seems like the biggest issue is the walks. I think we've seen a lot of walks out of the bullpen, and I think Nola we've seen just not full, doesn't have that full command on all his pitches quite yet. For the guys like Aaron Nola and Sir Anthony, my concern is very, very low. I think it's early in the season. They'll get their pitches back on track because they're great, and great players get back on track. Kimbrel and Soto are kind of a different story. I have no idea why we signed Craig Kimbrel. I really think it's just a poor fit in this bullpen. I think money could have been spent elsewhere. And Soto, he's raw. There's going to be some mistakes early in the season, but hopefully we can correct him. Maybe give him a cutter, figure it out.
Give everybody a cutter, even
Just
if they
give him
don't
a cutter,
want it.
man.
Just make them throw a cutter.
Yeah, just try to mold him into Jose. I think that's our only hope.
Yeah, so I'm with you for the most part. I mean, I'm not even really terribly concerned about Taiwan Walker. He seems to show glimpses of kind of what we think he can be. The splitter's obviously a very good pitch, no matter whether he has it or not. The splitter's usually pretty consistent, but he's got to get the location down. I think that a couple things are going to be very interesting to watch. We don't have to go too deep into this, but the pitch clock is going to take some getting used to, and I really think Aaron Nola is going to be a guy who's going to have problems with it all season, because he's been playing baseball his whole life without a clock, without anybody telling him when he has to pitch the ball, and it's going to take a really long time for him to shake it. And he's just with his stuff. There's no room for error. You can't. Aaron Nola, when he's slightly off, he's not good. It's something we just kind of have to admit, and he can't have the like. He already has so much working against him that just throwing the clock on it, I think it's going to lead to some very rocky Aaron Nola starts. And it kind of makes me wonder about like what kind of a season we're going to get out of Aaron Nola, because we know that he's very dominant when he's on, but there's been seasons before where he's settled into a high threes ERA, and you kind of question what just happened. It's kind of a Jekyll and Hyde type thing with him, and I also think that last season we're going to be paying for that for a really long time, especially with these guys we have locked up for this year and the following year. Zach Wheeler, some of the relievers, they pitched deep into October, and they had never done it. It's not like they had never pitched that deep into October. They, for the most part, none of them pitched in October. That is when they are resting. So their arms got effectively a quarter less rest this offseason. And that might be the sole reason why some of these relievers specifically are having problems. Sir Anthony had the surgery a couple of years ago, and he comes back, and he has to pitch deep into endangered territory there in October, and it's probably very uncomfortable, and he probably doesn't really feel like himself yet. So I think that that's part of it. The pitch clock's part of it, but I'm not worried because these guys are too good. Sir Anthony's still, the velocity has been here for the most part. Nola still has just the movement and the tools to be super good. They'll figure it out. It's just frustrating. That's just the theme of the podcast so far is frustrating.
Yeah, I think I'd rather be frustrated now. If we're being completely honest, I think we know how bullpens work. We've all been watching baseball long enough. It's probably the streakiest unit in baseball of any team. Like on your team, out of all the position groups, relievers, they'll suck for a week, but then for 3 weeks they could be lights out. And I think that's the kind of bullpen we have this year. I think we're gonna have our downs for sure, but I think guys like Sir Anthony are going to pick it up, and when him and Alvarado are on fire at the same time, we have a really tough bullpen to beat. I think we just got to be a little more patient, and we're going to have to take a couple blows, maybe a couple blown saves here and there in April, May, but we'll get back on track.
Yes or no? Thompson's going to give this job, the closer job, to Jose Alvarado. Yes or no?
No, I think he's just going to still use him in whatever inning is the highest leverage. I mean, the ninth inning isn't always the best batters. We know that.
That's true. But after seeing what we saw, I wouldn't be surprised if his main priority now is just stabilize that ninth end, coming out of just a brutal loss like that. Yes, Jose Alvarado is so insanely dominant, and it's a complete weapon. And we're lucky he actually showed up, considering nobody else did in this bullpen. But no, it's going to be interesting. Are you finally ready to admit that Bailey Falter is not terrible?
Yeah, I'm pretty much. I respect him. I mean, he's an innings eater, and he's been doing it pretty effectively. So thanks, Bailey. I'm wrong. Josh.
Yeah.
Are we worried about the coaching staff at all? I mean, Dusty Waltham is kind of struggling over there. I mean, people are blowing through stop signs. I mean, he has no control of the players coming around third base. And are you worried about Dusty?
I don't even know who. I don't even know how to answer that.
Why is our base running so bad?
I don't even know who to be mad at about that, because he's putting up the stop sign and just no one's listening to him. We got to get him one of those big. We have to actually get him a real stop sign so he can just.
Yeah.
Or we should just get a traffic light so he can just hold the traffic light. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
Or we can just put a traffic light and leave him in the dugout.
That's not a bad idea either. I'm surprised that we actually haven't thought of that. But yeah, I don't know. It's really annoying when we make base running blunders. I've grown used to errors. They don't really faze me. I've even grown used to blown saves and all kinds of stuff. But base running stuff always annoys me. I don't know what it is about it.
It's irritating.
I guess it's always because on the screen base running, it's so clear when they should stay and go, and you see the replays over and over again. Yeah, we should stop doing that, and we should probably just listen to the coach.
Yeah, I mean, baseball players should know every scenario when the ball's hit. I mean, you should know what you're doing, and these guys are playing at the highest level, and how the hell they look like they're in Little League? It's kind of embarrassing. Mike Schmidt said it pretty well. He's like, I think we've had a full year's worth of base running blunders in the first 2 weeks. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, Marsh is really not a very good base runner. And who's actually a terrible base runner, but obviously we haven't seen him do it this first week. Bryce Harper is a terrible base runner.
Oh, he thinks he's faster than he is.
Yeah, so there's kind of just a culture of bad base running, with the exception of JT, who's awesome on the base paths. Yeah, they all think they're a lot faster than they actually are.
Yeah, I think Marsh is. I think he's got the yips or something right now. He's a little bit too excited. I think we've seen some plays in center field and the base running, but I really don't think he's going to keep making these type of mistakes going forward. I think we'll clean it up.
Yeah, we forget that he's really young still, because he's got the big beard, and I forget that he's that young. He's the youngest of the daycare, I think, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, I heard some Rob Thompson slander on the radio this morning. I wanted to get your opinion on it. They call Rob Thompson. Might have mixed up the words, but they called him equivalent. They're comparing him to a timid substitute teacher.
I could actually kind of see that. I could definitely see Thompson being like that. I don't think we should be pointing fingers yet.
No.
But the Braves a couple of years ago. No, it wasn't the Braves. It was the Nationals. Remember when they went like 15 and like 30, and then they won the World Series? I think I've watched enough baseball in my life to I'll probably be towards the end in terms of pressing the panic button. I'm not going to be calling WIP. Um, I I don't like. There's baseball is such a long season, and a lot of people that watch baseball forget that. Because they're used to football, and like if you lose a game of football, it actually might end up being your season.
Yeah.
But baseball, like we could lose the next 10 games, and it doesn't matter because like we can still dig ourselves out of that hole because we can just come right back and win 10 games. It's weird. It's a really weird sport, but that leaves a lot of possibilities still on the table. And until we're actually eliminated, I'm probably just not going to even contemplate that because there's no point. Why waste the real estate in my brain? I got enough going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just it's nitpicking. I mean, I think Thompson's style, like as a coach, he's a quieter guy. He trusts in his players, and to be honest, we don't know how he acts in the clubhouse. He could holler, but he doesn't do that in front of the media. He keeps the same face in front of the media, and I personally respect that about him. And I no one knows what he's like in like behind closed doors, and I think that's something in today's media age that we feel like we know about everyone's personality, and I like that he's a little more sheltered in that aspect.
Yeah, he complements this entire dynamic pretty well because K Long is very vocal. I don't know if you've seen K Long, but he is the first guy to say something when he thinks that his hitters are getting cheated. Um, so like you don't need a ton of that. You just need some of that. And if K Long's willing to be the guy who yells at the umpire, then so be it. And between these guys in the clubhouse, Schwarber, JT, Reese is still in the clubhouse, Bryce Harper. You don't need much. You don't need the guy who's going to go. You don't need like a high school coach who's going to yell at all the kids and all the players like they're just like employees. They're really not. They know the goal and they don't need to be told the goal. And for the most part, the mistakes that we've made, everybody kind of is aware of what's going on. Marsh was very accountable when he messed up. The leaders in this clubhouse are probably already on it. So, Thompson's kind of there to just steer the boat. I kind of like the way he does it too, because I see a lot of Charlie in him, Charlie Manuel, and Charlie could get a lot more mad than Topper, but they didn't really seem phased by too much. And I like that type of manager. I think that's what you need in stressful situations like losing streaks and everything. Just stay the course. It's a long season. That's what he should really be telling the guys because it is.
Yeah. No, I think that should not be anyone's concern at the moment. I think that's good for us.
WIP wouldn't have many talking points if that was their main argument.
Yeah, it was a weird one. They were also talking about the ring ceremony and how the players shouldn't get that big of rings for losing the World Series, which was an interesting argument.
Yeah, they're probably real fun at parties.
Yeah, the buzzkills, one would say.
All right, you got anything else? I know the Phillies game is on, and
I'm actually excited to plop down and watch the Phillies whoop up Sandy Alcantara, which they probably won't. They'll probably have to score in the 7th, 8th, 9th, but
yeah, I think you're facing Sandy right now because I'm facing you, and Sandy's my best pitcher.
Okay.
So yeah, you have two horses in this race because you want Sandy to suck and the Phillies to win. So
I didn't. All right, now I realize that I have way more incentive to watch this game that I was already going to watch.
Mine's like a win-win because like either Sandy does great and I win, or
the Phillies
Sandy
win.
gets destroyed and the Phillies win. So it's gonna be a good night.
Yeah, maybe we'll get back on do a fantasy update next episode, and
yes, we should. Yeah,
because it's been very interesting. The fantasy outlook so far. I think it's gonna be a really fun year for fantasy baseball.
Yeah, we need to get on that a little more.
Totally.
Definitely more fantasy content. Yeah, I'll talk to you about that later, and we'll try to figure something out. But yeah, you got anything else here?
No, no, man. Stay the course. Stay calm, everyone, and go Phils.
And that will do it for this week. As always, Pick Swap Media, Sixers, almost playoff time. I think I don't really follow the Sixers too
Yeah,
closely.
Saturday.
Yeah, so that's cool. I'm sure some of you guys like the Sixers, so go check out Pick Swap Media, and
Pick
we
Swap
will be
podcast.
back. We will be back next week, and hopefully we will be 500 by then. Thank you.